Ladies and gentlemen, today is a huge day, an absolutely massive day for Black Ops 4 because we got all of the information on the next operation, Operation Apocalypse Z. And based off of what you are seeing here, this is the trailer that we got given today. But on top of that, Treyarch also had a live stream giving us all of the information on what we can expect to come out of this entire operation. So throughout this entire video, we are going to be going through, looking at every single game mode in Black Ops 4 and talking about what we can expect. On top of that, we're going to be talking about the new black market coming, including all of the new weapons that you can expect to see. Now, in conjunction with the trailer and the stream that we got today, the other thing that we were given is the roadmap for this entire operation. So using all of these pieces of information, we are going to talk about what we are getting, when we are getting it, and whether or not it's going to be good or not. Now, to start things out, I think we should start where it's the most simple, and that is multiplayer. So the first thing that is going to be added to multiplayer tomorrow is Reaper. So Reaper is going to be the new specialist character, and we kind of talked about this one already. However, there's a little bit of a twist because his abilities are a little bit different than we thought they were going to be. So first things first, as you can see in the trailer, he has a giant machine gun. This machine gun is still called the Scythe and is going to operate similarly to what we saw in Black Ops 3. Basically, a minigun that slows him down a little bit but kills people incredibly quickly and is going to be very strong. Now, his second ability is a little bit different. So his second ability is called Shroud, and the way that this one works is you pull out a pistol that kind of shoots a dart similar to Recon's sensor dart, and when you shoot it, it's actually going to cover a certain amount of area, and within that area you will not show up on the minimap. You will not show up because of the fog of war. If you shoot a weapon, you will not show up. So it works like a suppressor, but for anything you do within that area. So it'll be kind of good for attacking objectives, or I think even better for defending objectives, as the enemies won't be able to tell where you are even if you're shooting at them. So an interesting thing, I don't really know how it ties into Reaper, but that's his second ability. Now, the next thing that we have for multiplayer is the new map. So we are getting 3 new multiplayer maps tomorrow that are only available for Black Ops Pass holders, maybe eventually for non-holders, but we'll have to wait and see what they do with that. It's kind of unfortunate, but the first of the 3 maps is called Der Shaten, and what that basically means in German is the shadows. And the reason why they call it that is because it takes place in the shadows of Der Eisendrache, and there's a couple of pretty cool aspects to this map. First of all, you can literally see Der Eisendrache up on the hill if you look up into the distance, which is pretty cool. And on top of that, throughout the map, you're going to see zombies in several different places. However, really the big centerpiece of this map is the giant robot that has collapsed in the middle. And because the robot has collapsed, it has kind of created a ruckus throughout this entire city. And there's going to be certain things you notice, like floating boxes. This is because of the basically fuel for the robot has leaked everywhere. And then on top of that, you're also going to be able to go into the robot's head, which will then control its finger. So if there's any enemies running through that line of sight, you can press the button and it will squish them and kill them. So a little bit of a cool aspect to the map. Now, the one thing that they did say about this map is that it is supposed to be a large map, which generally speaking in Call of Duty, I'm not a huge fan of, but this one they said is on the larger scale of things. Now, the second map is called Remnant, and this one takes place at the Museum of Unnatural History, which actually ties into a couple of other multiplayer maps, which we could talk about in the future. But as far as what this museum is, it's where a bunch of zombies artifacts are kept. It's basically a museum for zombies in this game. And there's a couple of little Easter eggs on this map that were shown in the trailer that we're going to talk about. But first of all, let's talk about what this map is. So throughout this map, you're going to notice several different areas of it that are representative of different zombies maps. So you can see Moon, you can see the Titanic, you can see Transit, and each of these areas is going to have various artifacts from these zombies map, and you can go through and play on each one. Now, the developers said that once again, this is a bit of a larger map, but it plays a little bit close quarters because of the design of it. So I'm not as opposed to that one, and honestly, it looks pretty damn cool. Now, as far as a couple of Easter eggs that they showed in this trailer, first of all, there are teleporters on this map. I'm about 99% sure sure that you can see them in the trailer here. You can see them coming out and going in, and they show up on a different spot of the map. So assumably that will be playing in multiplayer as well when it launches. The second thing is when they first show this area in the basement of the Museum of Unnatural History, there is a mystery box. Now, as far as how this is going to work, whether you can just go down there and try to get like wonder weapons, I'm not 100% sure, but in the trailer, it was 100% in the basement of this map, so there may be a mystery box on this map. Now, the map that I am personally most excited for, and I think most people are going to like, is Havana. So this is a remake map from Call of Duty Black Ops 1. It's not reimagined, just remade. It's exactly the same, but with better graphics. And I know some people don't like that, but personally, this was one of my favorite maps from Call of Duty Black Ops 1, so I can't wait to play on it again. The thing with this map is I believe out of the new maps that we are getting, this is probably going to be the smallest one, and I think a lot of people, generally speaking, like these smaller maps. Also, if you stick to the main street right in the middle, this map is super chaotic, and like I said, I just can't wait to play on this one. The other thing that we are getting tomorrow in multiplayer is a new game mode called Sticks and Stones. This is once again something brought back from Black Ops 1 and is a game mode where you get a crossbow, ballistic knife, and a combat axe. If you get kills with the crossbow and ballistic knife, you get points. If you kill someone with the combat axe, it sets their points to 0. Another cool thing about it is you are able to see on the minimap the person who is in first place with a gold dot, which means if you hit them with the combat axe, they are no longer in first place. It's a really cool game mode. I loved it in Black Ops 1. Can't wait to play it in this game. So these are all of the things we are getting tomorrow, but not all of the things we are getting in Operation Apocalypse Z. So as always, they released the roadmap to see the things that we are going to be getting throughout the rest of the season. So as the roadmap says, throughout the rest of the season, we are going to get Jungle Flooded, which is going to be another variant on the map Jungle. Apparently, it's just going to be flooded. The next thing is Party Game Mosh Pit. So they said today that they are going to be returning with Infected and Gun Game. The big change to Gun Game is the last weapon is now going to be the ballistic knife, which personally I like a lot more. So that's going to return in a mosh pit kind of orientation with, I'm assuming, Sticks and Stones being in there as well. On top of that, we are going to be getting new additional game modes, which is super vague, and new weapons, which is also super vague. I know I haven't mentioned the weapons yet, and that is because we are moving into the next section of the video, the black market section. So this is everything that's going to be within the black market, the contraband stream, reserves, anything like that. That is what we are talking about now. So the first thing with the black market coming tomorrow is going to be a 40 tier contraband stream. Not 100, not 50, 40. And this is going to last for half of the event. Not the whole event, just for half of it. And we don't really know what's going to be in these 40 tiers. All we know is that one of the things is going to be an ultra weapon bribe, because they said there will be an earnable weapon bribe coming out tomorrow. Other than that, I would expect a lot of stickers and not so many weapons. Speaking of which, 3 new weapons are being added into Black Ops 4 tomorrow, which we're going to talk about individually. I am guessing they will not be in the contraband stream. I'm guessing they are all going to be in the reserves, and that is the only way you can get them. I know everyone hates it. I hate it too. There's nothing I can do about it. I've talked out about it a ton, but that's all I can do. So as far as these 3 new weapons go, the first of which is the Argus. So the Argus is a weapon that is being brought back from Black Ops 3. This is a shotgun that shoots normally from the hip. However, if you aim down sights, it actually shoots a slug. The second weapon being added, we actually already have seen some gameplay from in this video, is the crossbow. This weapon is going to be called the Reaver C86. This weapon is basically the crossbow that we've seen in many other Call of Duty games. You shoot a bolt that has an explosive tip on it, and it takes a little bit after it lands to actually explode. As I mentioned before, we saw some gameplay of this when we were watching Sticks and Stones, and as you were seeing on screen here. The third weapon they oddly didn't show in any of their trailers or even really talk about today, but it's called the Backhander, and it is the one right in the middle of the screen there that you are seeing. It is a zombie hand that you are able to hit people with. It is a melee weapon, very similar to the Lefty from Black Ops 3. Now, even though these are the only weapons that are coming tomorrow, they also showed us some more weapons coming later in the event as well, and these were shown in today's trailer. One example is the M16 that you are seeing here. This one's pretty self-explanatory, burst action assault rifle. The second one we barely get to see, it's called the Havana. It is a sniper rifle, a bolt action that should be coming within this operation as well. And the third one is very briefly shown in the trailer. It is a melee weapon. It looks like just a stop sign that you can see is on the back of the character here. So all of those are going to be coming during this operation, just not out tomorrow, so probably out in a few weeks. Now, speaking of characters, there is also a ton of new character skins coming within this operation. One example that we are seeing here is Outrider's cheerleader outfit. Also, a lot of the characters have gotten zombie skins, like the one you are seeing here, this kind of Boy Scout with a lot of arrows in him, I believe is actually a zombie skin for Ruin. It could be Nomad, but I'm guessing it's Ruin because as you can see here, this looks like another skin for Nomad, which is once again a zombie skin. Then we have this skin here, which I believe is Firebreak. I actually really like this skin, kind of looks post-apocalyptic-y. And we can also see many more skins throughout the trailers as well. The point I'm getting at, a lot of skins coming to the game. Now, on top of all of this stuff we just talked about, there's other new things coming like new Mark II weapons, new Mastercraft variants, and on top of that, a lot of filler coming to reserves. So, new weapon camos. There's 3 new weapon camos out for every single weapon. There are 3 new weapon charms out for every single weapon and 2 new death effects out for every single weapon. So all of these things combined together, just those 3 things for over 240 items that are going to be in reserve. So a lot of filler, unfortunately, which is really going to dilute the pool, which as always really sucks. But there are some good items in there. You just got to be fucking really lucky to get them, which is as always frustrating. Moving on to Blackout, there are some major changes happening within this operation. First of all, just the overall map is completely going to change. So first of all, you're going to notice by this trailer, the map has become very foggy and all of the trees have lost their leaves and are kind of dead. So the thing with this is there's going to be 2 maps, a less foggy version and a much more foggy version that you're going to be able to choose from before you start and jump into a game. On top of that, the water has all turned red within game, and they said that there's going to be a ton of zombies Easter eggs and plot points going on throughout the map, which I find to be really cool. Now, on top of that, the Alcatraz map is also changing. They have made it so that that map is now going to be nighttime, much darker. On top of that, they're introducing a new mode called Horde. So basically the difference is it's still going to be the same Alcatraz where you play quads, drop in, but there are going to be a lot more zombies. The zombies can travel across the entire map, and on top of that, they are also adding Hellhounds and Brutus as AI characters that you are going to have to fight to eventually win the game. There's going to be a lot of zombies on here, and it's going to be incredibly chaotic, not to mention the entire map is now completely dark. Now, on top of all of this, they're adding 3 new Blackout characters. These include Russman, like you are seeing on screen here. He is from the Transit Zombie crew. And the other 2 new characters on the right, you have Danny Trejo, who was in the Call of the Dead Zombies map, and then on the left, you have M. Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold. So Avenged Sevenfold has done many things, songs, and even Easter eggs and zombies with Black Ops before, so it's kind of a surprise to see him in the game, but I think it's a pretty cool addition. Now, there are also a couple of things that are going to be added throughout the event, not just tomorrow. The first of which is a new vehicle. It is the motorcycle with the sidecar, the one that you are seeing in the little cutscene here. On top of that, there is a new game mode that they are adding. It is basically Infected in Blackout. However, they are changing the name to Pandemic. Essentially, once you die in-game, you come back to life as a zombie and hunt down the people who are still alive. We've seen similar things to this in Fortnite, and of course, it's similar to Infected that we know from multiplayer. Now, the one other thing that they have said that they are adding, and we don't know how this is exactly going to work, but is additional wonder weapons. So as far as wonder weapons go, they can really do any weapon from any zombies game that they've ever made. So I'm really curious to see how they do this, if it's going to be Easter eggs, how you unlock them, or they're going to be found through mystery boxes. I'm not really 100% sure. They just announced that they are coming. Not tomorrow, but they will be coming to the game soon. Now, the final thing we have to talk about is zombies. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth here as I'm not really a zombies channel, but for those of you who are, the new map, as we know, is called Alpha Omega, and it's a kind of recreation of the old Nuketown map. However, they made it 400% bigger, or 4 times bigger. Now, also, you can play as both zombies crews, which means there are double the amount of characters you can potentially play as. Now, some other things that they talked about is the ray gun. The ray gun is now called the Prototype ray gun, which allows you to actually modify and change how it actually works in the map, which I think is pretty damn cool. There are also some new zombies you're going to have to fight against, one called the Jolting Jack, the other called the Nova 6 Bomber. So some pretty cool new and exciting stuff there for you zombies players. Like I said, I'm not going to go into that with a huge amount of depth, but I will say, I'm not normally a zombies player, but this map looked good enough that I'm probably going to have to hop on a little bit and play. So ladies and gentlemen, that is everything coming to Black Ops 4 during Operation Apocalypse Z. There's a lot of stuff there, including Reaper, the specialist character, 3 new multiplayer maps, big changes to Blackout, and as always, a crap load of stuff to the black market. Now, as always, I will keep you guys updated throughout the rest of the week, what the big changes are, what has actually changed. Of course, we'll dive in and look at the new Blackout map. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I highly recommend it, especially if you want to stay up to date on everything Black Ops 4. So if you do, make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you turn notifications on. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button, and let me know what you think of everything down in the comments below. But as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for